Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Adeptus On-Air. I am your host, Mike Hoffman. Very excited today to be joined by Tori Deal. Tori, how are you?
Hi, I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I don't know how to introduce you because you're involved in like everything now, and
Yeah.
I guess multi-hyphenate is probably the best way to describe you right now. Full disclosure, never heard of the term before until a podcast I did a few weeks ago. Someone came on and said, I'm a multi-hyphenate. And as I'm talking to them, I'm quickly on the right side of my screen here, Googling what the hell that means. So I had no idea what they were talking about. But then as I'm, reading about you and going through everything, I'm like, it perfectly describes you. I assume you've heard that before about yourself?
Yes, I actually have. I was on the Girl Boss podcast not too long ago, which I was always a fan of. And then they asked me to be on it for that specific reason. So, yeah, I do so many different things. It's really difficult for me to introduce myself as well
Yeah.
because, I'm like, what angle do I start with? Do I say, you're probably familiar with me from reality TV, or
Mhm.
do I go into my more passion projects where like I'm an author? Like I'm releasing a new book this week. And
Yeah, I
so,
want to talk about that because my
yeah.
wife's a school principal, an elementary school principal. So we talk about that stuff all the time. And when I
Mhm.
read what the book was about and the title totally sucked me in. So we're gonna definitely
Thank
talk about that. But growing up, I'm sure your plan was, when you talk about what I want to be when I grow up, I'm sure it wasn't, I think I want to go on a dating show
you.
and have that turn into, 7 seasons of, beating my friends up on TV. So how did you get from what your normal life was into that lifestyle?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my sister and I always used to joke, like growing up, she would be like, I don't know what you're going to be, but I just think you're going to have a lot of money. And I could see you living in a mobile home and like stapling it to the walls. That was like her best way to describe what she thought I was going to be when I grew up. And I feel like I'm kind of living up to it
Yeah.
because I like you said, didn't really have expectations of falling into the reality TV realm. And originally, I knew I wanted to be on screen. I had a history teacher in high school who was like, "You would be really great at newscasting."
Hmm.
And I was a part of like the morning news station at my school growing up. So I was like, you know what? Like, let me go into broadcast journalism and see what I can make happen out of that. And got my degree in actually at SUNY Old Westbury in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so then from there, I had a friend who was like, you should go on a dating show. This was post graduation now. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I cannot, well, I hate reality TV. Why would I be
Hmm.
on it? Like, I don't like drama or anything like that. So I applied to be on it. And sure enough, I got on it. And then the next goal was like, all right, well, I played soccer in college too. Like, how can I
Hmm.
turn this into something athletic and get on the challenge? And then they asked me. So it was this interesting just turn of events that I was never really expecting, but I always had a plan and a vision of at least being on TV in some capacity.
So I imagine being on there's two aspects of it because obviously on a dating show, it's you're putting your relationships out there, which is one thing if
Mhm.
you're just competing. But now it's the other aspect of your personal life being out there. So I gotta believe for someone who lived a relatively private life,
Mhm.
that was definitely an adjustment, I would think.
Like it didn't actually bother me.
Oh,
Like
good.
it was an adjustment in the sense of, yeah, now you're understanding that actually everybody in the world doesn't like you. That is like a rude awakening to have when you kind of walk around thinking that, yeah, I'm nice. People must love me. And then absolutely not. That's just not the case. So there was definitely a lot of growing up to do, but I think that at some point in everybody's life they go through that experience of
Mhm.
learning that, not everyone's going to like you. Once I got past that and I realized that I was able to be successful in other ways, especially on the challenge, like being able to be a strong physical competitor and testing myself, pushing myself to the limits, it really built my confidence. So I think that what I got from it is better than, the hate that I had to
Yeah,
receive.
yeah. Everything has their pluses and minuses. So the dating show was obviously let's get a great experience, let's have some fun.
Hmm.
Then you go on the challenge, let's have a great experience, have some fun.
Hmm.
How many seasons later are we?
7 years later, almost 8
Okay.
years later. And
So
depends
did
on if you're
your
counting spin-offs or not. It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much up to 13.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Did the mindset change at all where it's not now so much about the experience? Because let's face it, you've experienced it. Now it's kind of like, for lack of a better word, a business trip where we're going, yeah, we'll be hanging out with some friends, but we have a different objective here, and that's just to outright win.
I wish it could be so clear cut like that.
Mm.
I think that it's really turned into that more recently than anything. But I do think for a long time, like, because I got on it when I was 23. So I basically spent all of my 20s. I'm now just 30. So I spent all of my 20s on it. And I do think for the majority of my career, it has been about having fun and then also being successful at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
I look at it the same way like a football player plays in the NFL.
Mhm.
Like, why wouldn't you? Yeah, you're having fun playing your game, but also it's a business decision. So I think it's both.
Because you're sacrificing, obviously, being away from jobs, family,
Hmm.
other sources of income.
Hmm.
Now, what a lot of people don't understand, if you could explain it briefly, when you're on a show like this, obviously you're playing for a cash prize.
Hmm.
And realistically, most people don't see that cash because they're not winning it.
Hmm.
How does a show compensate you, in essence, for your time?
Yeah, so the show definitely pays you to be there weekly, and the more that you do, the more your weekly pay goes up. And so I'm getting paid to be there regardless of if I win money or not. But like the luxury of working in a world like this, where you're gone working now for, 6 weeks at a time, 9 weeks at a time max, then you come home and you have all of these months off in between.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you can leverage your social media following in some capacity, then now I'm making money on the outside as well. And every single time I go back on a show, it just helps to replump that
Yeah.
engagement on my social media accounts. So I'm either making money directly from being on the show, or I'm coming home, I'm working on a project, I'm selling it, and then I'm making money off that project.
Yeah. So you being what I'll call an entrepreneur, an
Hmm.
independent professional, whatever you want to use, works great with this model.
Totally.
But someone who's a traditional 9 to 5 W-2 type of person, this doesn't really work. Maybe one time you get a month off to try something.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a teacher, you can go on a Big Brother for a 3 month summer.
Right.
But you can't keep a full-time job constantly leaving every
No.
6 to 9 months if you become someone like you who's a staple of the show.
Totally. Yeah. I do think like you have to be committed to not knowing when your next paycheck is going to come in. You have to be like, I am a freelancer. I am an entrepreneur. Like, I don't have anybody giving me that structure of an income.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to kind of like place my chips on myself.
Well, listen, if you're going to bet on someone, why not bet on yourself as opposed to
Yeah.
someone else?
Yeah.
So one thing that's always fascinated me with these shows, and I saw it really well this year, so it's a perfect example with you, is you're competing to win, but
Mhm.
you've built relationships with these people. So some of these people are close friends. Some you might call family, in the
Yeah.
non-traditional, wording, and you're all there to win money.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you have to beat up, eliminate, backstab a friend. Whereas if you're on a one-time show, these are people you might have
Yeah.
known 2 or 3 weeks. Now we're dealing with people you've known 7 or 8,
Yeah.
years. And I don't want to talk specifics about the game because this audience isn't necessarily for this. But earlier this year, you were in a Final Two competition, and from what I gathered, someone you're very good friends with, someone you've known a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you destroyed them. You're
Mm.
excited to win, but at the same point in time, what's your mindset? You're there to win, but you just basically, I don't say shattered a dream because they'll have other opportunities too, but you really took a dream away from a good friend of yours by beating
Hmm.
them. So what's that
Yeah.
conflict in your brain like?
I think well, are you referring to specifically like Ride or Die as the season that I won?
No, I'm referring actually to this year on Challenge USA. It was like week 3 or 4, and like I said,
In the elimination. In
in
the
the
elimination.
elimination, and
Yeah.
it was the ball dropping contest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were going against a good friend of yours,
Yeah. 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 Okay.
and let's put it out there, you destroyed her.
Yeah.
you know, but I think you have a good relationship with her. I mean, TV can obviously skew these things, but what's it like basically
Yeah.
sending a good friend home for
Hmm.
yourself?
Yeah, that one didn't feel good. So there is the emotional aspect of it. I love to win. I love to be a physical competitor and I love to show how strong I am.
Mhm.
But when it comes at the cost of it happening to a friend, like I think because I've been doing the challenge for so long, I just kind of go into like go mode when I'm competing
Yeah.
and don't care who I'm going against. But after it's over, I definitely reflect, and it's something that I had to process. I'm really grateful that Janae, who was the girl that I went up against, was understanding enough to not hold it against me and
Sure.
to be like, I told you to go as hard as you could, So
Yeah.
she didn't make me feel bad, which made the whole situation easier, but it's a brutal game, and the truth is, if somebody were to go in there and wreck me, then I would be okay with it, because that's the game we sign up for at the end of the
Yeah.
day. We all make an individual decision. Like, I'm about to walk into a crazy game right now.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
do I am I willing to like get fucked up? Oh, can I curse?
Well, you just did, so it's fine.
Sorry. Am I willing to get messed up by somebody? Like, yeah, I am, because
Yeah.
that's what I said in my contract. So it's like, I'm willing to put it out there, but I'm also willing to take it. I mean, if you watch
Yeah.
the recent episodes, you saw me get jumped.
Yeah.
And so I like it what goes around comes around.
Yeah. Now, is it different for you? Because for those of you who don't watch the game, there's obviously a huge physical aspect, but there's also strategy at times, and there's also, like any reality show, there's alliances or whatever. Would you feel differently if, listen, you beat someone fair to square in a physical comp? Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. Would your mindset be different if it had to do with backstab or something where you're plotting against a friend or a friend's plotting against you, or you'd still say, hey, hats off to you, you got me?
I would never go out of my way to plot against a friend. It
Okay,
just
so
like
you would
is
think
not
that,
my
yes, yeah.
character.
So because you
Yeah.
see that with other people on the show who have different mindsets, and
Totally. And
yeah,
that's what makes it interesting, is like
yeah,
some people come on there and they're willing to play that game, but like there's definitely some type of integrity that I like to play with.
yeah, and it
And
shows.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
that's what I think, is important. I mean, when you do leave the show, you are leaving with a reputation.
yeah.
You can come across as a fierce competitor. You can come off as, since you coach, you can come off as an ass.
Yeah.
And you want to do other things in a bunch of different areas
Mhm.
and genres and things like that. And you coming off as a classy competitor
Thank you.
works for you. You know,
Well, yeah, especially for longevity. Like, I
Mhm.
think that's something to take into account. You're never if you're a player that's now, always going to come back, then you have to play like everybody's going to know the rest of your moves for the rest of your career.
Right. Yeah. So there's strategy to that too. And then,
Yeah.
and the people coming back, they're the ones that will backstab you. And, they're the ones you have
Yeah.
to kind of,
Get rid of
look
them.
at. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's amazing. And it really is, when I watch you and I look at these competitions, and, maybe 20 years ago, I was in better shape than I am now. I couldn't have done 80% at my prime what you guys do now. So it is truly a credit to your training and your mental, fortitude or whatever. But it's just so impressive what you're able to do. It
My
really,
dad, my dad tells me that all the time. He's like, I don't know how you do it.
yeah,
I don't know where you got it from. I'm like, Dad, I think something's wrong with me. Like, I look back at it, some of the
yeah,
some of the challenges we have to do, we're like swinging from semi trucks, or we're like jumping off of like
yeah,
platforms. And these are very scary things, and they
mhm,
don't ever get not scary. It's just a matter of, how am I going to take that fear, put it somewhere in me, and then move past it? Because as long as I don't die or get severely injured, I think I'll
yeah.
be okay. And not
But
going
that
with that.
separates you from 98% of the population in the world. I could say I'm going to go on the show, and I could say, okay, I'm going to battle, and I could say I'm going to do whatever it's called, the hall brawl, whatever like that. But
Mhm.
then you're going to hang me on a truck that's going 50 miles an hour.
Mm.
I don't care if there's $1 million if I can get through it. There's no way I'm doing that. I don't have that mental capacity to say I'm going to try it. I can't take what you just said, that fear, and put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
And most people, that fear would overcome them.
Yeah. And it happens on the show sometimes. It really
Yeah,
does, but you just won't be asked back. And I think
yeah,
they're definitely good at wrangling the people who are willing to sacrifice their bodies in a way
yeah.
just to compete. But it's interesting, like after it's done, it always feels like, holy crap, I can't believe I did that. It's never
It's
not rewarding. Even if I lose, I'm like, I did it. And that in itself feels like amazing.
most important question I'm asking you. What's your cat's name?
Miso. She's a
Okay,
hairless.
Miso just decided to join the podcast.
If she starts screaming, I'm sorry. She's been very temperamental right now. She like wants to go outside. She's got like a boyfriend that lives under the shed. It's a mess over here. So
That's
if you
okay. My
start
dog decided at 3 o'clock last night, let's play. So I was up from like 3 to 4:30. So yeah, that's hence the no shaving this morning. So it's, I get it. They're kids. So
Yeah.
I my kids are both out of the house. So I'm an empty nester for the first time with my wife, but I still have a
Wow.
dog. I need,
Yeah. It's your
and
baby.
that one takes the most care. Than the two kids leaving wasn't so bad. So so moving away from the challenge, because obviously, let's face it, that was a great platform for you to
Yes.
get you to everything else you're doing.
Mhm.
So one of the things that really fascinated me was this genre into authoring a book and authoring
Mhm.
books and so forth.
Mhm.
And as we talked about before, you're coming out with a new book,
Mhm.
or I don't know if this is the book that's already been released, but I love the title. I'm reading it because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
The Adventures of Bumblebee and Koala Bear: The Search for Syrup.
Yeah. Koala pear. But
Koala.
yes.
You know what? I wrote koala bear, but my
Yeah.
mind goes, I said koala bear, and I love
Yeah.
it. Explain it, but obviously you're combining animals and foods in some capacity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just meant to be a really creative world. Like you said, it's a common every character is pretty much a combination of a food and an animal. So like bumblebee, cinnabunny, koala pear, old radish, like these really cute characters. And basically, like that's probably one of my favorite qualities about myself is like I do have this ability to like tap into my super masculine side and go
Mhm.
compete and just be ferocious. And then I also like have this super feminine side of me where I get to just like sit in my room, which you can see is just like a kid's room, but it's like
Yeah.
my favorite, like at night, it's my favorite place to be. It's like warm, it's cozy. I like to think about crazy worlds and just let my imagination run wild. And because I've been able to, I have that free time of
Mhm.
those months that I'm not filming. I use that time to create projects that like really do make me fulfilled. And so, yeah, The Search for Syrup was my first kids book. And I'm actually releasing another book, but it's not a kids book. So I'm leaving the genre for now of children's books and I'm going into poetry and art. And it's just really cool because now I'm not, held to any one genre and I can allow my creativity to flow and I can tap into that. And it's just as rewarding as doing a challenge. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, I
kind of
saw you
what
on
I'm
Instagram
experiencing.
page. I believe it's called Soul Spill,
Yeah, the soul spill.
which had a lot of your poetry, and I looked at it the last couple of days, and so forth, and there's some great stuff there.
Thank you. And you know what? It's only gotten better since working on it because when I have like a plan or something I want to do, I literally disconnect from the rest of the world and I just work on that thing. So for the last all summer, for the last 12 weeks, I have been working so hard on this project and finally within 3 months was able to turn it around and I have pre-sale launching October 5th. So it's just about like loving something, doing it, committing to it, making that be my first priority, and then getting out into the world. And I'm just so happy to be back in that cycle of things.
Was this something as a kid writing?
Yeah, always. I was so bad at math, and that's why I work with you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that later. See, I was good at math, but don't ask me to be creative.
Yeah.
When we had to read poetry, I'm like, oh God, if it doesn't rhyme, I
Yeah.
have absolutely no interest in reading it. And even if it
Yeah.
does rhyme, I really don't have much interest, but at least it's
Yeah.
better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhyming, I'm a huge fan of the rhymes.
Yeah.
And
Dr.
I don't,
Seuss, I was good with like Dr. Seuss poetry.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a legend.
So children's books, that's an interesting way to go.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think any author has to obviously have a huge level of creativity, but obviously just in your title alone. So as you said, your characters are a combination of an animal and a fruit or vegetable.
Hmm.
Where does that idea come from? Like you could say I'm writing a story about an animal that gets lost or a piece of fruit that's walking around looking for syrup. But like, where does that come from? I mean, are you just like, just sitting in
Yeah.
bed one day and what can I do? And that pops in, or is this something you've been like imagining for a long time?
It definitely pops in. One of my
Okay.
favorite things is I watched a master class from R.L. Stein. He was the
Mhm.
creator of Goosebumps.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to people on how to be creative. And he's like, it's not really something you can teach, but more something you catch. When you have a creative thought pass through your mind, you take note of it in that moment and you don't let it go. Otherwise, you will forget it. And so, what I've really learned over the years is I do have this ability, and I think we all do. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to tap into it, of opening yourself up to thoughts that already exist out in the world, in the universe. And then I think it has a little spiritual aspect to it as well. Like, I don't ever actually think that I created any of these things from my own brain. I think that I've channeled them. I think that I've opened my mind. The idea has kind of crossed my neurons, and I decide that I'm going to grab that idea and now I'm going to bring it to fruition and actually make a thing out of it. So as much as I'd like to say I'm a writer, I feel like I'm just channeling these projects and I'm just allowing myself to be open to them.
You hear that a lot with songwriters.
Yeah.
I wake up at 3 a.m. and a tune's in my head.
Yeah.
And I quickly have to get up and go to my piano and jot it down, which is crazy. I guess all of us from what you're saying has that creative thing in their brain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that I do. So nothing's passing through me because, like I said, but I'm a numbers guy. So, and I guess each of us are kind of pigeonholed when you think about numbers guy. Generally, we're the nerdy people without the personalities. But I'd like to think I have personality. This is like my 40th podcast I'm hosting. So
Yeah, you're a host. That takes total personality. And I don't think that people that are great at numbers don't have personality at all.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you're not fine tuning the ability to like open up your creativity.
Pocket protector. I'm not wearing a pocket protector. You see, I'm pretty cutting edge.
Yeah, you are totally.
See?
And also like I can be good at math if I want to be. It takes drive. It takes me wanting to pursue it. There's not necessarily an interest there because I think it doesn't come easy.
Sure.
There is no interest there because it just feels
clear. When you're an accountant and when you're talking about math, I have a calculator right in front of me. I'm not doing math. I'm hitting numbers. So I was visiting my daughter at college. She's at Penn State. So I went up for a game a couple weeks ago and I bump into one of these girls that she went to high school with. And she says, I need your help. She's like, I'm taking algebra and I'm lost. Can you tutor me? Like, I can't do algebra. I did algebra 37 years ago. I can't redo that now. But I think you're an accountant. You can do any kind of math. I can't do the Pythagorean theorems and x squared plus 3x plus y. I have no idea what that means.
Funny thing about the Pythagorean theorem, I just saw a news article this morning saying that we all credit Pythagorean for a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but actually they found like a stone tablet where it's written 1,000 years earlier than his life. So people, ancient aliens and ancient civilization has been doing this stuff. Like we created these things so long ago. We just, work off calculators and just copy the text.
That's right. It's right here. I don't leave home without this thing. I got a calculator on here.
Yeah, exact same.
We do math the exact same way. We hit a button and we go to town.
Yeah, just being surrounded by the numbers, though, it's just like it's a lot.
If you saw my office look like right now, you could probably see some of the papers. We have a deadline next week. I'm sure you've been dealing with us on your stuff as well. There's a lot of numbers and a lot of papers going on right now. So if you're not into this would not be your thing.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said before, because I think it's great about these things just pop into your head. My wife always jokes about how she wants to invent the next thing. Come up with this idea. And I'll date myself. Did you ever see the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Shue?
No.
Okay, cute movie.
I'll watch it.
But they're sitting on a beach, and he was a character whose mindset was, he wanted to be more than just a bartender. He wanted to, and he's holding one of those little umbrellas, that you put in a drink.
Yeah.
And he goes, someone came up with this idea. And now this guy is probably a multi-millionaire because all he came up with the idea was putting a little umbrella on a toothpick and selling it to people to put into fruity drinks. So I would think with you, with these channeling these ideas for books, I could totally see you being a person who comes up with this next great idea or this next great app as we're doing, I could see you on Shark Tank is what I'm saying in a few years. Like pushing a product because that's just, to me, your mind is always moving. And I'm saying that in such a positive way.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. And I have a list of potential apps in my phone. I just don't execute them.
There you go. See?
But yeah,
I'm totally not surprised, talking to you about that.
Yeah, there's definitely like it's the thoughts that pop up. Like I can't pick what category they go into when it comes to like something that maybe would be like new age in its own area. But I definitely always keep track of them because you just never know. And then I always want to know, like, okay, well, if I'm not going to put my resources into actually making this thing come true, I want to see if it does come true in a couple of years, just so I know that I'm.
And you're going to be pissed.
No, because I made Okay, yeah.
You're gonna be pissed if you see someone else come out with this thing, and not that it's not. If it becomes huge,
Yeah. If it becomes huge, yeah.
if it becomes
Yeah.
huge, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing, and what
Yeah.
I love is when people call me or talk to someone, I have this great idea. I'm like, dude, that's been out for like 5 years already.
Yeah.
Like maybe you thought of it because you saw it or you
Yeah.
heard about it,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I have a feeling you're going to answer this differently, maybe now than you did 10 years ago. So
Mm.
there's this concept of success, and what we all define as success. And it's going to kind of lead me into the business side of things a little bit. So has your definition of personal success changed now that you're in your early 30s and you're the multi hyphenate versus what success might have been for you in college?
Definitely. In college, I wanted to be a rapper and I was pursuing a rap career. And I even was trying to do that while being on the challenge for like the first 2 years.
You do realize
So,
I'm going to ask you to rap in a second, but just keep
and
going.
I'm just going to rap you my poetry because that's really what it turned into,
That'll be wonderful.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I think I used to look back and really, and I think like a lot of people my age probably look at like the Kardashians and like the
Mhm.
glorified lifestyle, all the
Yeah.
money, all the parties, all this, and now that's just so false from how I feel. You couldn't ask me to buy a luxury bag just because it's like I see it so differently now. And I think
Mhm.
what true success is being able to work on whatever I want to work on. It's the time that I have for myself. And it's my own personal platform to promote whatever projects like fuel my soul. So
Yeah.
it is just being able to like work on passion projects and being happy and healthy and then just living a pretty chill life. I feel like
And
for a 30-year-old,
that's
I'm
great.
pretty calm. Now I am. I used to be wild, but
And again, I haven't watched all the seasons.
mhm.
Have you changed on air? I mean,
Like,
were you a lot more intense yelling at people like some of these crazy people
no,
versus
I
that you
was
are now?
never yelling at people. I think it was just more, I had like really bad codependency issues
Okay.
in terms of relationships, being in like, I was engaged on the show. I got broken up with on the show.
I did see that clip today. And I did not know that about you. I knew you were
Yeah.
engaged to someone from the show, but I didn't realize it actually happened on air. I just watched it
Yeah.
probably an hour ago.
Yeah. So I've really grown up so much, but you
Yeah.
think about yourself from age 23 to 30. Like what growth did you make in those 7 years of your own life that just wasn't aired on national TV?
Well,
So I think
this was full.
I
I can tell you that. That's the biggest change. Yeah.
won't be surprised if in a year I look like that too. Just from the
Something tells
stress.
me you won't. Yeah. Yeah.
Just from the stress of reality TV. But no, like
This is the stress of a wife and two daughters. So yeah,
oh.
what are you gonna do? And in this case, the dog also. That dog did not help. So,
Yeah. They're the best though. But I do think yeah, like my success or my view of success has changed. It's definitely just wanting to feel at peace
yeah.
and to be safe and to be creative and yeah. Like it's totally I thought that by now I would have been married with kids and I don't even have a boyfriend. Like I don't even have somebody in my phone that I've text when I'm drunk. That's how that so if it's there, it's bad. Like I'm just
But
so
you're happy.
the happiest I've ever been.
So there you go.
Yeah. It's been amazing.
And when that aspect comes, and whether it comes because you're the next bachelorette, or it just comes because you're meeting someone at the bar tonight,
Oh God, I don't think I
that's
could
what
be
we
next
should do. That
bachelorette.
could be our next platform. You
Getting
could
me
be our
on the
next bachelorette.
bachelorette. Oh God.
I don't watch that either, but yeah, that would be kind of cool. You post a lot of motivational stuff
Yeah.
on Instagram and so forth. Now, are these things, because two of them that you posted recently, and I'll read them now, to be your dream destination,
Mm.
to be at a place where I'm grateful for my mistakes. And then when you stay ready,
Hmm.
you don't need to get ready.
Yeah.
I love that one. Love that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Where are these coming from? Are you reading and finding these, or are these really things that you're just coming up with? Because I think they're so insightful.
Thank you. To be dream destination, to be at a place where I'm grateful for my mistakes is like a little form of poetry that I wrote.
Mhm.
And then when you say ready, you don't need to get ready. I think I heard like an athlete say that years ago and it's just always kind of stuck with me. Um, yeah, I'm also with when it comes to like thoughts and quotes like that, I collect them as if they were like creative insights that I've had by myself because those are the little moments that inspire us when times get hard. Like when I am competing in the challenge, when we run a final, sometimes those finals are like 3, 4 days long, and we could be running 30 plus miles on no food, no sleep, getting shock collars put on our neck and electrocuted if we do fall asleep, like crazy stuff. And so in moments like that, when you're really pushed to the brink, I kind of go back into my little folder of, okay, like what are the quotes that are going to like get me through this? Because it's that mental fortitude that's going to help me succeed in really difficult times. And whether that's in the challenge or whether that's just in real life, when things feel like everything is in shambles, it's just like, okay, like I have a quote for that somewhere. So like, where's the quote?
Here's my list of apps. Here's my list of quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, lots
Thank
of
God for
lists.
your phone. It's got all this stuff for you.
Oh, so many. If I lost my phone or my iCloud, it would be traumatic.
Or if someone get a hold of it, someone will make a ton of money and all these great ideas.
I will hunt them down. I will hall brawl them.
Yeah, that would be scary because have you been in a hall brawl?
Oh,
That's just only for guys. I've never. I have to Google that now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You're gonna love it. It was seasons ago, but it was pretty beast.
Who did you go against?
I went up against this girl, Jenny. She's like a very, very strong competitor. So everybody thought I was gonna lose.
And I'm gonna guess you didn't.
You'll have to watch the clip.
I mean, damn it! I have to go to YouTube. God, I have so much stuff to do today. So let's talk about our firm for a second, because you've been with our firm for several years.
Yeah.
We don't work together. It's the first time we're talking.
Mhm.
You work with one of my partners,
Mhm.
Deanna Gilbert, out of the Long Island office.
Mhm.
Just talk for a second about, the relationship that you feel is important, when you're dealing with your business advisor, accountant, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call her, and how, it's benefited you over these last several years.
Oh my God, I feel like she is my mom in a way. She's like my money mom. That's the way I feel. And I really wasn't given, like I'm not financially literate, or I wasn't for a long time. And I got put on to working with your firm because a good friend of mine, Joey Giordano, her father, his friend worked at the firm. And so it was just kind of like when I was 18 or 19 or something like that, I came over, and I've just been working with you guys ever since. And I just think like it's just so amazing to have somebody in your corner that can like help you and guide you. I have so many things on my mind. I am putting out this book. I'm working on this one. I'm writing apps. I'm writing notes on my phone for potential apps in the future. I'm like doing all of these things. Like I don't have time to figure out the land in the world of money. And so it's just that delegation ability of me being like, hey, thank you so much. Can you help me tell me how we're going to like optimize my 401k or whatever we're going to invest in this year. And it's just having somebody hold my hand through that process makes my life so much easier. And I just know the work is getting done correctly. One of my biggest fears is filing my taxes wrong and having the IRS come at me. And now this is a whole nother stress I didn't want to deal with. Like I am not a confrontational person. I'm not trying to take on the United States government. I just want to do it the right way and just live my life. So having Diana has been like literally the best thing in the entire world.
Good. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's a great person. She texted me this morning, have fun with Tori. I'm like, of course I'm going to have fun with Tori.
Oh, tell her
Have
I
fun
love
with
her so
Tori.
much.
All right, so let's ask some fun questions here as we wrap this up. What other type of reality show, what reality show out there would you love to do if you could pick and choose?
I feel like Survivor because like
That might be guess for you.
what an experience, like you live outside and also like you're pretty much on a water cleanse, and I always wanted to like flush my colon out.
That'll
So
do it.
So I feel like it would be a nice cleanse, even though you might leave with a parasite. But I feel like it would be interesting and a once in a lifetime experience. So I think
So since
Survivor.
sharing, I had my first colonoscopy this summer.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, because I just turned 50, well, last year. And you want to talk
Yeah.
about a cleanse, that'll do it for you.
That'll do it. Yeah.
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 So I could tell you exactly 2 big things of Gatorade, a lot of Nerolax. You can have your cleanse done in like 40, really like 4 hours. It's good. Yeah.
I don't have to go to Fiji for that.
No, you don't need to go to Fiji. I did not get any parasites. And the key is
Okay.
just stay home and you're fine.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna have my own little personal Survivor. I'm gonna film my own Survivor with
There you
them.
go. No one
them
pulled you off
Gatorade.
the island, none of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you can arrange it. You're with CBS. You can have Jeff Probst come to your house while you're doing it.
Totally. Yeah, that would be amazing. So yeah, I think Survivor would be cool. I also think we joked about The Bachelor, but I think it would be sick because I always happen to get in a showman's anyway while I'm on the show. It just happens. It's not my fault. And
Wow. Look at you. Well,
oh,
I
thank
want to
you.
be in a showman's with you, of
Thank
course.
you so much. But I think it's just like for me, like I really do enjoy that aspect of it because like I said, in my real life at home, I don't really go out. I don't make time for partners. So when I am on the show, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm finally around people to flirt with." And so I think that like, it's a fun itch to scratch when you're just in the world because when I'm in my personal life, I'm not going out there. I don't really make time to do that.
Does it add a little bit of potential drama? Because again, I don't know the history of you with the dating, full disclosure, but
Yeah.
from I was watching one of my daughters this year, and I guess someone on the show this year, another female, and you both at some point dated the same guy who's on the show this year.
Oh, yeah.
Does that add to any problems or drama? I think it was the Big Brother guy, Fessy or something.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Is that
Also like no, because like Fessy and we were really it was just like a one-time thing.
gotcha?
So it wasn't that big of a deal, but like there's definitely been drama where like my ex-fiance has hooked up with other girls right in front of me or another girl right in front of me. So that hurt, but not when it's just somebody. So yeah, there's definitely drama that comes with it, but
But that's probably when you need your motivational poems at that point
and
because
that's when I resort to my motivational poem folder.
yeah,
Yes.
acting is that ever something that interests you?
It does and it doesn't. It's kind of like the same thing with so when I went to go be a newscaster, I actually used to work at a News 12 Long Island. I was an intern there and I wanted to go into news, but I didn't really like how you kind of had to take your personality away just to like tell news. And I was like, actually, no, what I want to do is be a personality. So if I could be a role that was like written around my personality, amazing. But like if I had to like dive into something and be somebody else, I just don't think that it would be as fulfilling to me as just being myself.
So I'm sure probably before your time, I'm sure you've seen Seinfeld before.
Yeah, of course.
So okay, so Jerry plays himself,
Yeah, right.
and I'll never forget going back in time when he won the Emmy for Best Actor.
Hmm.
I think it was Michael J. Fox who gets up on stage and presents the next award. He goes, "I don't get it. We just gave a Best Actor award to someone who plays themselves. There's no acting." Like he was trying to be funny, but like what you just said kind of makes sense. It's like you're playing yourself. What are you acting? You're just
Yeah,
taking your life and you're just going and doing it in front of a camera.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's more just like about allowing your personality
Yeah,
to
yeah,
entertain. It's just being an entertainer.
yeah. Because it's funny when you watch a TV show and you know someone is gay in real life and they're playing a straight character.
Yeah.
When you have someone straight playing a gay character, to me that's actually entertaining to watch how
Yeah.
believable they can be in something so different.
Right. That
You
is
can't
so
change you
crazy.
can't change someone's race, obviously, if you're a certain color, you're a certain ethnicity, whatever it is.
Hmm.
But Modern Family, great show.
Hmm.
Have you seen Modern Family?
No, just a little bit of it.
One guy plays the
Yeah.
gayest of gay guys, and he's
Yeah.
I think he's married in real life, has a girlfriend, and you would
Hmm.
watch that show, and when you find out he's straight, and you see him like with his girlfriend, you think he's acting off the TV
It's
because
amazing.
he's been so brilliant, with the
Yeah.
acting side of it.
Yeah, I do think that that's such a beautiful art. Like people
Yeah.
who have the ability to be so fluid like that and
Mhm.
detach, like they just totally take on another character, which is why I think like people always think, "Oh, would you go into acting?" Because I think, you look at somebody who does well on screen or, looks like they could be an actor or actress and I think but like there's an art to it. And just because somebody is beautiful or somebody has charisma, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to completely adopt another personality like that. It's just such a beautiful skill. So I'm always inspired by it.
Yeah, and I think because of your mind, I think you'd be able to do it because I think you're able. I think with the way you're describing your mind and stuff, I think you'd be able to get
Yeah.
a script, get in a character identity, and be able to take yourself and become that person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I have that creative side to become someone else. I
Hmm.
totally think from this, how we've been friends now for 40 minutes, so we're close. I think from these 40 minutes, what I see about you, I totally think that's something you'd be able to do.
Thanks. I've done a few roles.
Mhm.
Small roles in like independent films. So when it comes up, it comes up. And I've taken acting classes and like it's just there's so much on the plate right now that it's like unless it were to fall into my lap so easily, I wouldn't take it up. But if there was an opportunity, yeah, I think it would be fun to experience it. When I look at actors and actresses though, I think that it is just such a craft you have to dedicate your whole life to.
Yeah. So, author,
Mhm.
reality personality, uh, poet,
Podcast host.
podcaster.
Hmm.
Are we still on OnlyFans?
We're still on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, which we didn't even discuss, and that's a whole other
It's,
income stream for you.
it's a whole beast in itself.
It's a whole beast in itself. Yes,
Yeah.
I have a bunch of clients that are both on OnlyFans, and now Playboy has their equivalent of OnlyFans,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I have some people on that platform too.
Hmm.
How has that process been? And not getting into specifics about what you do or anything,
Yeah.
and so forth, irrelevant to this. How has that process been in terms of the ability to connect with people through what I'll call a pretty safe mechanism?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like easy. And honestly, like sometimes fun. So like I think the hardest thing about deciding to go on OnlyFans is recognizing, okay, I have all of these other beautiful creations. Am I going to discredit myself, or are people now going to look at me through the lens of just an OnlyFans creator?
Sure.
But when I see myself and I sit alone, I take away the judgment. I see an ability to fund my life on a pretty consistent basis where I don't have to worry about how many books am I going to sell, how much pressure do I have to put on this passion project, and am I going to get a call for another show? I've now created a pretty consistent stream of income, and it's a pretty decent amount. So is the peace of mind that I get from that, and also the ability to fund my other projects, worth it? And for now it is. And I think the hardest thing was probably just telling my dad. I'm like, how do I explain to my dad I'm going on OnlyFans? This is going to be such a weird conversation. But he was such a champ about it. I remember explaining it to him like, Dad, it's like basically like a calendar shoot that you do every week pretty
Yeah.
much, but it's on the internet, and it's adult content. So I told him, and he was like, well, he heard how much money you can make on it, and he was like, it's a no-brainer. And I was like, okay, great. I have my dad's support. And from there, it just kind of was easy. Like now I get to, because of that, I was able to move down to Miami, and I live here with my best friend, and all I do is work on my creative projects or get ready to go film a
For the
TV.
amount of time you put into it, it's funding everything else.
Exactly. And then also, like I told you, I don't go out and have like, boyfriends or anything like that. So like I have internet boyfriends. That's where
Okay, on that note, okay.
I'm an internet girlfriend.
I imagine you have a lot of boyfriends. We'll just leave it at that.
There's quite a few.
So, are you going to wrap them here? No.
Definitely not. We've
Okay.
we've buried the mic.
You like these motivational quotes, but what does it say? You never hit a shot you don't take?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on. Yeah, I know you're busy and everything. I wish you the best of luck on the rest of the season going forward with the book that's coming out. And I'm definitely going to order for my wife's school. We talked about it yesterday. I'm going to order that book. And
Thank you.
if you're ever in Jersey and you want to read to a school,
Yes.
we,
I'll let you guys know, because I'm always coming back to Jersey. My family lives there. So I will
where do they
definitely
live?
have South
What do I
Jersey.
say? Where?
No, South Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have so many friends up in New York. So I'm always up there too, like
Yeah.
constantly. But yeah, I would absolutely love to read to a school. That would be so
Yeah.
sweet.
They'd love to have you. So thanks again. And
Yeah.
best of luck with everything you do.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be on the show, and I appreciate all of the amazing compliments and the questions. And yeah, look forward to connecting again in the future.
All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On-Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. If you have a question related to this episode or have a request for what you would like to hear, please email us at marketing@adeptuscpas.com. You can also find us at adeptuscpas.com online or follow us at Adeptus on social media. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.